Hello there, my name is Joe Byrne. The date is the 14th of the 11th, 2016. I'm recording a piece of evidence for Unit 303, Social Network and Management for a Business, for the qualification Social Media for Business Level 3. So, this time round I'm looking at social network and management for a business. Primarily I'm going to be looking at social networking tools. So first I want to define social networking. Social networking is the use of dedicated websites and applications with the aim to interact with other users and find people with similar interests. That's the official definition of social networking. So here's a few examples of some external social networking tools. So we're looking at Facebook, Twitter and YouTube that are all very recognisable in the UK, but we also have Orkut here, which is a Brazilian social networking tool. We have VKontakte, which is a Russian social networking tool, and we have RenRen here, which is a Chinese social networking tool. So when we take these different social networking tools, we've got to take into account our geographical location. So your geographical location defines which external social networking tools are more appropriate to for you to use due to the popularity in certain geographical areas. So Facebook and Twitter and YouTube are all used a lot in the UK, also in USA, and they're used all over the world. But in other countries, there's other social networking tools, the ones that I mentioned earlier, that are more popular than the worldwide Facebook, Twitter and YouTube tools. So in Brazil, you're more likely to meet somebody who uses Orkut rather than Facebook. So the functionality and features of external social networking tools are pretty important, and are probably another thing that defines whether you would use a certain social media tool or not. So for the most part they have very similar features and functionality, as they do aim to do the same thing. They aim to allow you to network with other people and socialise online. However, with each one being individual and different, they do differ slightly, the functionality and features between each one. Two very similar social networking tools are Facebook and Twitter. Both of them have a similar purpose, but the features differ slightly, making the two sites extremely distinguishable from each other. On Facebook, for example, so the language is different. So on Facebook, for example, you post a status when you want to share something publicly with your friends that you've got on Facebook, whereas on Twitter you tweet, which essentially is the same thing, but the language is different, which creates a different atmosphere and community on both of these tools. On Facebook, another feature that isn't present on Facebook but it is present on Twitter is that there's a 140 character limit. So on Facebook there's no character limit, which means you can write as much as you want on a status and post that and share it. You could write a few paragraphs, as many words as you want, whereas on Twitter you're limited to it's usually 2 short sentences that you can get out of 140 characters, maybe a little bit more. So obviously this changes the way users interact, as the character limit forces the users to keep things short and sweet to get the message across. While again, like I said, on Facebook, you can be as detailed as you want. And I've got another example on language used here. So on Twitter, when you share something that somebody has already uploaded onto Twitter, you retweet, whereas on Facebook you share. So again, another language difference there. Now, YouTube, on the other hand, is very different to the other two and to most social networking tools. This is basically because the only way you can communicate is on YouTube is through making videos or commenting on other videos. There's no other way to share your thoughts, ideas, opinions, or anything other than making a video and uploading it to the site. So yeah, it takes a lot more effort to put something new onto the website. So yeah, this makes a totally different style of networking available to users of YouTube. Now, some interesting features on the foreign social networking tools. The Brazilian site, Orkut, on the other hand, up until recently had a unique feature to casual social networking sites, and that was the crush system, excuse my misspelling there, where you could add somebody to your crush list as a way of showing a romantic interest in the user. So this allowed elements of dating websites to trickle through onto a social media site, which was unique at the time, and probably still is, because most of these sites either focus on general social networking, such as Facebook, or they'll focus on the dating aspect of socializing, whereas Orkut kind of brought these two together. You could also rate other users, which would have also included an extra, included an extra element of socializing on the website, as it encouraged individuals to get along with each other, or else the rating might be compromised. I think this was probably a really good feature, and a feature that would likely stop public debates, inappropriate public debates on social networking, and it would possibly stop bullying and harassment, which would be great for social networking. As with most tools and websites, these social networking tools do have limitations. So these limitations range from privacy settings to restrained features. So one example is Facebook's privacy settings, which have went through many changes over the past few years. Many argue that the privacy settings on Facebook have become too simplified and don't offer enough options to personalize your own privacy settings. So you can see to the right this screenshot here that I took of a Facebook privacy settings page. There's only 7 settings to change and customize for yourself, which seems like a small amount for a website with millions of users. Many people complain that it's far too easy for individuals who are inexperienced with social media to share the personal details as well, without realizing the consequences. So many people on the settings will input their mobile contact number, their address. There's places where you can enter this information on Facebook and make that public if you don't have experience with using privacy settings and changing them to keep yourself safe. Another commonly mentioned limitation is on Twitter, the 140 character limit that I mentioned earlier. This really does limit the amount of information that can be shared at any one time on Twitter, and it can actually eat into your time significantly when you're trying to think of an alternative way to word a tweet that has too many characters. So some might say the 140 character limit is a good thing because it prevents certain styles of socializing that really go on, and if somebody posts too many words on a post, it can go slow. Some people look over a really long post and think, no, I can't be bothered to read that. Whereas with Twitter and the 140 character limit, it speeds things up a bit. However, many do still consider it a limitation just due to the fact that it is a limit, it is a limitation, and 140 characters isn't as much as you might think it is. So yeah, finally, we're getting on to selecting external social networking tools for a business. So we've covered all the basics, and I thought I would give some example, give one example of a new business that's recently opened in Peterlee Town Centre, which is near where I work, called Truly Scrumptious. It's an ice cream parlour. I've decided to select external social networking tools for them, just to show an example of how and why I would do this. First of all, if we look to the bottom here, I've kind of ruled out some of the tools that I mentioned earlier. So with this business being in the UK, in Peterlee in the UK, Orkut, vKontakte and RenRen wouldn't be appropriate whatsoever for the ice cream parlour to use. They've got extremely low usage in the UK, and by extension in this town of Peterlee. I've never heard of anybody in Peterlee using these social networking tools. Any attempt at marketing the business on these social networking sites would likely just go to waste. They'd probably fall into a void, and appropriate people probably would not see whatever they put on these social networking sites. They'd probably miss the target audience completely. YouTube as well, I decided that they probably wouldn't benefit from a YouTube channel. The reason I say this is, although it's geographically appropriate and a lot of people in Peterlee do use YouTube, I don't think that the business would be able to create regular content on YouTube. It's a channel, it needs to be regularly updated, even if it's just once a month. I think Truly Scrumptious would struggle to do that unless they got very, very creative, because I can't personally think of many ways an ice cream parlour can utilise YouTube and create regular content. It would also require them to invest money into equipment that they might not be able to afford. And yeah, so I would recommend that they use Facebook. Due to the small size of the business and the popularity of Facebook in the local community, I think they should really focus their efforts on on Facebook. The features and functionality of Facebook give them everything they need in order to succeed in marketing their business in the local area. As the target audience is more likely going to be children and families, they can very easily target parents on Facebook as well, which would likely be the most likely people in the family to use social media. I would also recommend to use Twitter as well. It's used a lot socially in the area of Peterlee. I think time and effort put into Twitter could produce some good results for the business. There's no competition in terms of ice cream parlours in Peterlee. So I think there's a lot of businesses that would support their growth.